Jeff Siegel here to take you through the week on HRTV. Scott Lake joined an elite group of trainers when he won his 5,000th race on Wednesday at Laurel Park.
Take us back to right before the first race. What was going through your mind?
Well, it was getting kind of monotonous. Everybody every day going, "Did you get it yet? Did you get it yet?" You know, so it was, I'm like, man, let's just get this done and get it over with and get the monkey off my back. So,
communicator, what kind of horse he is, how you got him, and what he means to you now that he won that milestone race for you.
He's a nice old class horse that we actually claimed at Penn National, and had some throat issues. We ended up doing 2 throat surgeries on him, and really taking our time with him. Dr. Hogan, she did a phenomenal job on his throat, and he's come back and he's put 2 back-to-back races together for us, and he's just a nice horse. He's a sweetheart to be around, and he's a great, big, beautiful-looking horse.
Scott, we're looking at you in the winner's circle holding it up, and you look real happy, and you should be. Is it particularly gratifying that you were able to do it with yourself scaled down as much as you have?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we went through a huge transition with some personal things that happened with my old accountant, and reorganizing the whole operation. Training 275 for a couple years straight, really taxing on on your ability as a trainer, and just being your home life and everything else. So the scale back was all part of a plan at that point, and we're real happy we did it. And it's just been it's been like a dream training 60, 70 horses now. It goes so smoothly.
Prior to her 4-win day at Laurel Park on Thursday, jockey Forrest Boyce joined Race Day America on Wednesday.
Talk about, first of all, we were just alluding to like the 22-degree temperatures and riding in this kind of cold, and you really can't layer, and if you put on something thick underneath, you sweat too much, you could get sick. What do? How do you stay warm?
Actually, I layer quite a bit.
You do?
I wear like tights, and they make good winter riding pants now, and lots of Under Armour and stuff.
Under Armour, thank God for that.
It's not that bad because luckily they shortened the post parade, so we aren't out there all that long.
That helps.
Well, tell us about the last couple of weeks at Laurel. Joanna and I had the chance to catch up with you. Actually, it must have been a couple of months ago when we were on our outside set to learn about how things were going. But we keep seeing you win race after race. Do you feel like you're really getting into a rhythm and a good relationship with the Laurel trainers?
Absolutely. Things have been clicking pretty good lately. Luckily, everybody, I recently lost the bug and became a journeyman, and people haven't seemed to shy from it, and, it seems to be business as usual.
Well, you're basically doubling the next rider, Julian Pimentel, 64-30. I mean, that's miraculous no matter what. It's been a couple weeks now since you lost the bug. Did you see any change, or did everything just kind of stream along?
It seems like everything streamed along. Luckily, so far, no one said no to us, and I'm luckily been getting on the same horses, and they've all been running good.
Stakes racing at Aqueduct warmed up a cold December week in New York.
Gumbadaguska in front now. No Shenanigans is second. Teeks North moves to third. Monsignor is fourth. It's Gumbadaguska by almost 3. But Red's Round Table is fighting back again. Red's Round Table, play with me. The two of them come to the line. Too tight to call. Was it Red's Round Table or Play With Me? Here's Muhawara to take over the lead in deep stretch. Muhawara from off the pace. Checkpoint got up for second. Wind Caper faded to third. They pass the 16th pole, and Shine Upon is going to win it here. Had the lead, gave it up, and comes back to win by 4 lengths. Kali Brachoa now takes the lead from Driven by Success. It's Kali Brachoa to win the Gravesend, and did it in 108.4. More Than a Reason, moving up on the outside, but he's not going to get to Almadoro, who was sharp in victory here, won by almost 4.
Charlie Hayward was on the phone Thursday with a look at NYRA's week after the closing of New York's OTBs.
I luckily was on my vacation in New York last week, and I was thrilled Saturday to go to Aqueduct, which can somewhat be a bit of a ghost town. Let's call it what it is. Normally during the whole week, there were thousands of people going up that escalator, and for the most part, I'm going to tell you something, they were all in a great mood. It seemed like everybody on track, all of your people, were making sure that everyone was having a good time.
You know, it's interesting you were there, Peter, because it was an unbelievable day. We had about 6,400 people, which is a lot for Aqueduct. You know, that's about the number that we get on Cigar Mile Day, which, as everyone knows, is our big Saturday over the Thanksgiving Holiday Fest weekend. And, you know, we got a little bit short on concessions. People had to wait a little bit longer on the Saturday, but by Sunday we had fixed that. And, you know, we're working on a lot of things. We had we put on buses. The first Wednesday that OTB was shut, we had 9 buses with a total of 42 people on the buses. But yesterday, we had 334 customers that arrived via bus, which was great. We've opened up, you know, Belmont, as you folks know, having been there at a Cold Breeders' Cup, there's no real heat to speak of and not much in the way of air conditioning either. But the Belmont Cafe can hold about 220 people. That's been, you know, jammed every day. We're going to keep that open over the holiday break because we're down for about 10 days. But we've got a couple hundred, 220 people there, averaging about $200+ per cap. And you know, the other thing that's big is you know, unlike California, we're set up in the wagering business. We've had an account wagering business which is online, internet, and on track phone, but we've never been able to video stream our races due to the, you know, typical New York regulations. So we're hoping that's going to come through. We're going to be able to do that. And you know, also, we really only have to do about 35 or 40% of the handle that OTB did because we make, you know, much more money from our internet and account wagering platform and much more money on track than we got from OTB.
Coming up on HRTV Rewind.
This time of year is a really good time to visit the museum. Try to imagine a 3-mile drive lined with these beautiful lighted displays.
All right, real quick here. It's the holiday season, so we got a quick bullet drill. First of all, who was Rudolph's dad?
I don't know.
It was Donner. Donner. Okay, what kind of nose does Frosty the Snowman have? Is it a corncob pipe and a
red nose?
Button.
Button nose. Button nose.
Two
okay.
eyes made out.
Oh, okay. You're right. Okay.
Where does Jack Frost live? Mr. Geography, where does Jack Frost live?
South side of Pittsburgh. I don't know.
He's part of the Steel Curtain, right? Siegel, Aaron, we want to thank you very much for joining us. Another Against the Odds.
The Kentucky Horse Park is ready for the holidays. Cindy Ruhlman explains.
This time of year is a really good time to visit the museum. Try to imagine a 3-mile drive lined with these beautiful lighted displays, and many of them have a racing theme. So we actually have moving lighted displays with horses coming out of the starting gate and that kind of thing. So a lot of equine themes going on throughout the drive, but a lot of other things too. And it's something that is really geared for people of all ages because it's really beautiful.
Cindy, the Southern Lights, it looks like it could be a wonderful family tradition year in and year out. How long has this actually been taking place?
Oh, I think, you know, I should know that, but I think we are into our 23rd year, I believe, of Southern Lights. So it just keeps getting bigger and better every year.
And how long, once again, remind the folks out there that are looking to check this out, how long will it be going on?
The outdoor display will be open through the end of the year. Now, the indoor displays, I think, are only open until Christmas Eve.
Santa Anita's Alan Gutterman was on set with a preview of opening day, the day after Christmas.
One of the staples for opening day at Santa Anita Park is always the calendar, and you brought one here, and I'll just hold it up briefly. And I love the theme you've come up with, and it has to do with Santa Anita on the silver screen. Tell us more.
Yeah, there's actually Candy Chu who designs our calendar every year and is always searching for new themes and new ideas. And I think some of this was inspired by the fact that Luck is shooting here, the HBO series. And when you go back and look at all the movies that have been shot here and all the TV series that have been shot here, it's extraordinary. And so Candy decided to do features on at least a dozen of the films that filmed here. And so there's a little thing in it for each month on one of those films, like Public Enemies, for instance, with Johnny Depp, which Michael Mann directed.
Saw that.
You
That
know,
was wonderful.
and some old films as old as Mae West movies and movies with Walter Matthau, and it's just some great stuff. So even as far back as Charlie Chan at the racetrack.
Yeah, and Chevy Chase in Vacation.
Right,
I just
Vacation,
watched that a
course.
week ago, and you see the parking lot and part of the grandstand.
And of course, Seabiscuit, in which Santa Anita really was one of the stars of the film.
Yeah, so, you know, this is also a great reference to go on your Netflix and queue up some of these great old films. And I'll hold this up one more time so you can see it. And there's some great pictures inside. See these little squares? They're all the different films that have been shot here at Santa Anita Park. And within the calendar itself, there's some more personalized pictures of Bob Hope and different actors.
You can do your own Google search of movies made at Santa Anita, and then maybe it'd be a Jeopardy category one year.
We caught up with trainers at the Great Race Place to hear their thoughts on the new dirt surface.
Synthetics is a bad concept. It's like kryptonite to racehorses. It's so horrible. And that's the reason I left. The only reason I had left, really, and the reason I'm back. Yeah. So, and it's as far as for right now, my opinion is the dirt here looks great. I think it's going to be super. I think, you know, if the world swings back up on its feet with the purse increases and the dirt here, and Del Mar goes back to dirt, Del Mar's going to have to, inevitable. I think if they do, then I'm here to stay.
You know, I was against synthetic when they put it in, and I didn't dislike it as much as I thought. But to me, it just seemed like we had to all train our horses the same. I called it generic training. You couldn't train for speed. With a synthetic, you couldn't do it. I just called it all generic training. We all had to just train the same. There was no art to it.
I had no trouble with the synthetic, so I wasn't one of those that was a big proponent of dirt. But I mean, I'm fine with the dirt. But I think the synthetic was fine. But this track right now is really good. Just hopefully it stays that way. It's just going to take a lot of water, but it's even, and horses seem to be just move over it really well.
I wasn't against synthetic, so let's be careful where we go there. But I'm very happy with what they've put in here, and it looks like it's going to be in good shape, and that's what all we can ask.
Horses coming back nice and safe the first few days. I've only been here a couple days, but it looks really good. So everybody's cautiously optimistic.
Beautiful place. I think that you know, a little excitement going with the raisin purses, going back to dirt. Definitely a great place to be this time of year.
Well, I think everybody's happy. I can tell in the air that all the trainers, everybody's, you know, really looking forward to this meet. You know, everybody has a little bounce in their step, and so I think a lot of people they just weren't having fun anymore, and the horses seem to like it, and so far, you know, everything looks great. So I'm just to be back at Santa Anita. Now we have dirt, so I think it's going to be a great meet.
This week's Lane's End feature race was the Grade 3 W.L. McKnight Handicap at Calder Racecourse.
And as they come to the top of the stretch, it's Prince Will I Am under left-handed urging, who's the leader in the McKnight. Prince Will I Am down to the final furlong. He's got to hold off Free Fighter, who's got a big chance in the second spot. Prince Will I Am drifting about, but he's clear as they come down to the final 16th. Prince Will I Am from Free Fighter, and Prince Will I Am will be a graded stakes winner on dirt. He takes the McKnight. Free Fighter was second best. Memorial Maniac closed for third.
Up next on HRTV Rewind.
Santa Claus coming to town. A lot of great racing coming your way from New Orleans. John Court and Arch. His first winning moment comes in the Sugar Bowl.
As it turned out, we were able to lay close enough and pounce on him down the stretch.
Here in New Orleans, cloudy skies, and it's Santa Super Saturday. Track announcer John G. Dooley alongside our racing analyst Katie Michelet. Cloudy skies were in the 50s. Main track fast, and the Stall Wilson Turf Course handicappers rated good here in New Orleans. Santa Super Saturday, Katie. Santa's brought plenty of presents for our fans and plenty of races too, including 5 stakes.
And hopefully can bring us some winners today for the 12 races. So an exciting day here at the New Orleans at Fairgrounds Racecourse. And looking at the feature race race of the day, the Bonaparte. And we actually drew a nice group of horses here for race number 9. I'm looking forward to a big race here on the turf. The turf is rated good.
So the turf rated good here in New Orleans. It was misting last night for our Starlight Racing program, but main track today fast, and the Stolwilson turf course, as noted by Katie Michelet, rated good. Really looking forward to an action-packed day, 12 races in total, 5 stakes races, and also, as Katie pointed out, the late pick 4 starts on race number 9. That is the Bonaparte. Santa Claus coming to town. A lot of great racing coming your way from New Orleans. Back to you.
Stakes racing on Santa Super Saturday was the highlight of Fairgrounds weekend.
On the outside, Minga Mena driving Greeley's Rocket for this final 16th. Wildcat Eris holding her, though. Inside the final half furlong, Lady Alexander and Kimbo battle for third. It's Wildcat Eris in the Esplanade. Wildcat Eris led throughout in 104 flat. Into this final Fairgrounds furlong, here comes Fast Station up to the front. Fiscal Policy toward the rail. Street Storm runs on. Inside the final half furlong, Fast Station, Shornbridge Rahan, triples for Steve Asmussen. Fast Station going away in 111 flat.
You've got James Taffel Silks. I'm a little biased, love Street Sense, so I went with Country Flavor, who's 6-1 in the morning line. And if you look at the record at the distance, a proven commodity going this far. So to me, Country Flavor gets first run on some vulnerable speed when they line up together early on in the race.
Country Flavor charging on the outside. Matt Flatter is last. Inside the final half furlong. Toward the inside, Z Humor. Here comes Country Flavor and Shane Sellers. Country Flavor at 11-1. Country Flavor has won it from Z Humor.
He's dropping in class, and more important, he's stretching out to 5.5 furlongs. The Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint was 5/8 of a mile this year, a big field. He did not have a good trip. Now they're going 5.5 furlongs, and for a horse like Due Date, he needs every bit of that final furlong to get there with his closing charge.
Backtalk drifting out. Royal Express, far outside, is Due Date charging with early return. Grand Traverse in between horses. Down to the final half furlong, and Due Date is storming home. Tony Farina and Due Date to win the Bonaparte.
I look toward the outside of the starting gate in this race, and I look for a maiden perhaps to get the first lifetime win in a stakes race. A second-time starter shipping in from Churchill Downs for Jinx Fires with John Court in the saddle. Arch.
Down to these two-year-olds for this final Fairgrounds furlong. It's Arch, and Joe Hollywood up toward the wire. John Court and Arch. His first winning moment comes in the Sugar Bowl. Arch in 110-2.
Yeah, I've been watching the races today, and I know a lot of them had been coming from off of, whether it be on the main track or the turf, but small field, and I don't want to underestimate the speed. So as it turned out, we were able to lay close enough and pounce on them down the stretch.
Yeah, you did so very well. Actually, the 2-horse, I would say, actually dug in and came back a little bit.
Yeah, he certainly did, and I was watching Robbie. I could tell he had something left in the tank, and I was pleased Jinx had him on his game today, and he proved it, so we're delighted.
He sure did. So we'll talk to Jinx Fires over here, the winning trainer for Arch. You got this horse ready for the second career start. I'm sure that we were all waiting. There was much to see out of this one after having a troubled start last out. How'd you get this one ready to go for his second time out?
Well, we've had him in Hot Springs, and he's worked. All his works have been, above average, and so we thought we'd better take a shot at this one down there. I won it before, and so I knew you had to have a horse with speed, and we knew he had it. So.
Yeah, it's great to see you guys ship on down here. This one's been working up at Oaklawn Park. Do you have plans to send this one back up to Oaklawn?
Tomorrow morning.
HRTV Rewind takes you back to the 90s for this day in racing history, December 17th, 1993.
December 17th, 1993, my brother's birthday. We were at a restaurant, and I want to say someone from the kitchen came out who knew we were involved with the horse sale. The track's on fire. All the way across the whole grandstand, just destroy the place, and it was like, oh my goodness.
I watched the track burn down from my barn here at the fairgrounds. The heat was so intense that the concrete steps was glowing red as I watched it burn to the ground. And you got to keep in mind, this is a track that I grew up with. My first job ever was walking hots in this very barn right here.
Through a round-the-clock effort that lasted for 19 days, Fairgrounds was able to erect temporary structures and conclude the remaining 60 days of their meet. And only a year later, A $28 million project to permanently rebuild the facilities was completed.
Once you got over the shock of it, typical of a racetrack, everybody pulled themselves up and they built this thing with tents, and everything was temporary with trailers, and everybody started working together, and we put this thing back pretty quick and went on with it.
Racetrackers are tough. We're tough. We just stick with it, keep grinding, find a way to win some races, find a way to get through it, you know, get on to the next meet, you know. Don't want nobody crying for us. We want to get up and work and do well and try to win races. All racetrackers are tough.
It's something that, like New Orleans, has really withstood the test of time, and that's why the city embraces it.
Author Mary Jean Wall was on the phone Thursday with a synopsis of her book.
What led you to this book?
Well, I was looking for a research topic in grad school, and I went to grad school late in life, just started in the year 2000, which was 8 years before I retired from the Herald Leader as a turf rider. Anyway, in researching various things, I kept noticing that after the Civil War, which meant after slavery had ended, Kentucky was always being referred to in the racing and the sporting publications as Western instead of Southern, and I kept wondering why. And believe it or not, that was the germ behind how this research began. And the more I looked into it, I realized Kentucky had not been Southern, not regarded as Southern in the slavery era, even though we had slaves here. So that led to a whole lot more research.
Well, why was Kentucky considered Western? And with that title, what were they referring to?
Well, I think that it was a throwback to the days of Kentucky on the edge of the western frontier, which was early in the 1800s. So why, 65 years later, were they still doing that? I think it was as the center of racing had transposed to New York and New Jersey after the Civil War. It was a way they had of referring to Kentucky and its racing and all things Kentucky as inferior to that in New York and New Jersey. It was a power play, so to speak, and there was a large power play going on in the racing and breeding industries at that time.
That's all for HRTV this week. Here's a look at what's coming up next week, including an all-new episode of Inside Information.